Wen was walking through the empty corridor when she felt a warm grip on her wrist and a soft pull. After a few seconds, when she was stable enough to open her eyes, the familiar smell hit her nostrils. Taehyung. She breathed. What are you doing? She tried to break the embrace, and this time they let her to do so as they were in the university campus. Come on, we'll be late. They held her hand and almost dragged her towards the OPD section of the hospital. He must need the medical certificate, she thought while entering into the hospital, but surprisingly, they stopped in front of the ophthalmology department. Let's wait. The OPD section was less crowded. A few patients were waiting for their turn, and then one felt an itching sensation in her left eye. She tried to recall how many times she had rubbed her eyes throughout the whole day, and the attendant called her name. Kim Wan? Wan, let's go. They tapped on her shoulder, gestured her to go inside the cabin of the eye specialist. Obviously, it was the first time when Wen was addressed as Kim Wan publicly. It felt like a new experience to her. She was about to get up. I think I didn't wear the glasses, that's why my eyes are. They knew it was her who was trying to avoid the ophthalmologist's appointment, so he grabbed her wrist. Come on, he's my friend and you are the last patient. Please, no, don't. Wen tried to fake cry, but they was already prepared for the situation. 여보세요? Young-hyun. In a fraction of a second, Wen stood up and walked inside the cabin just like an obedient child. But in actual, they didn't even dial Young's number. Wen was told to take the split lamp test. Putting her chin on the chin rest and positioning her forehead against the top strap, the doctor carefully examined her eyes. But for some reason, the ophthalmologist frowned and she was told to go to another cabin. Is there anything wrong, doctor? When asked the ophthalmologist. The ophthalmologist nodded. Are you facing any problem to see? No, not really. When answered, and the ophthalmologist sighed. And now it was time for the visual acuity test. Surprisingly, one couldn't read the last two rows of the letters properly. The eye specialist smiled in satisfaction. Surprisingly, you have a 6/6 eyesight. It's a very good sign. Next, one was sent to another cabin. May I come in, doc? Her jaw almost dropped as she saw Taehyung in the same cabin, chatting with the ophthalmologist. She could feel her heart pounding as she saw him. The doctor gestured her to sit on the patient's chair. What's your name? He asked casually. Kang Wen. She answered, but they corrected. Kim Wen. Is she your sister? I mean, our sister? The doctor glanced at Wen and concentrated on the computer screen as he was going through all the data. No, she's your Dangsa, my wife. They corrected him and the ophthalmologist smiled. Congratulations, Taehyung. Congratulations, Wen. And he again concentrated on the computer screen. Hyung, is everything alright? He couldn't stop himself from asking him directly. Wen, are you diabetic? He needed to confirm with the medical history data, and Wen denied. No. Good. From when you were having this redness? He asked. From this morning, she answered. When did you last cry? You felt the urge but couldn't. Try to remember. You were upset but couldn't cry? The doctor asked. I'm upset right now, but I didn't feel the urge to cry. Wen answered, and the doctor made a small eye contact with Taehyung. She's a student doctor herself. And savage, the eye specialist added. So, student Dr. Kim Wan, do you know what is sneak thief of sight? Wan blinked and glanced at Teham. Is it glaucoma? You're not overthinking. I think I'm the one who is forcing you to do so. Look, kiddo. Glaucoma refers to a group of diseases that cause damage to optic nerve, right? And optic nerve contains more than a million nerve fibers. And this optic nerve connects the eyes to the brain. It carries the images to the brain, right? The ophthalmologist stated and Van nodded. Optic nerve fibers make up a part of the retina that gives us the sight. Okay, and this layer can be damaged when the pressure of the eye when interrupted. You mean intraocular pressure? The eye specialist nodded. Yeah, the IOP becomes too high and over time the high pressure causes the nerve fiber to die, resulting in decreased vision. The first time in the life one was regretting for studying medicine. She felt choked emotionally and couldn't stop the tear flowing down, but maintaining the eye contact with the ophthalmologist, she wiped the tears and sniffed. The ophthalmologist gestured Faye to console his little dungsaw and concentrated on the computer screen. Look, glaucoma usually occurs when fluid in eye builds up, causing higher pressure than the eye can withstand, and the canal responsible for draining this fluid becomes plugged, preventing proper drainage. In the other cases, the eye may produce more fluid than normal and simply cannot be drained fast enough, producing more higher IOP. Currently, you are having higher IOP in your left eye. The condition of your right eye is normal, but surprisingly, your eyesight is 6 by 6. That's really a positive sign in your case, but remember, having high IOP increases the risk of developing glaucoma. The ophthalmologist prescribed some medicine and smiled. Don't cry, Dangsa. The redness and swelling will be decreased, and try to reduce your screen timing. And Teham, you are in charge of giving her the medicine on time. They nodded. He actually didn't think that the redness in her left eye could actually be that much serious. The couple walked out of the cabin of the ophthalmologist, and now Taehyung was in doubt. He had to decide either his wife or his dream. He looked at Van, who was trying to behave normal like nothing happened. Wow, Hyungnim has prescribed so many medicines. Are you going to pay for your sick wife? She playfully raised her eyebrows. Your phone is in my pocket, and I have stuffed your backpack in my backpack, so I have to. They pinched on the tip of her nose and headed towards the medicine store. After buying the medicine, both of them headed towards the parking area. Give me the keys. One was about to put her head into the pocket of his jacket when they stopped her. I'll be driving. Come on, Taehyung Kim, the doctor. Don't sympathize me. It's just a disease and I'm under treatment. It's not like you're divorcing me. Though Van's tone was casual, but she actually spoke her insecurity out. They literally glared at her while she was busy fastening the seatbelts. Throughout the whole ride, they didn't utter a single word. His eyes were fixed on the roads, and he sensed Van's eyes were fixed on him. He knew Van was craving for his answer. Van was mentally dying to hear that she was never gonna get a divorce. Though in actual she wasn't getting that, but still they was angry because of Van's thought. No, he wasn't angry because she casually asked him about that, but because of her mental state that provoked her to think that he would not be there beside her when she would need him the most. The car stopped in front of their apartment. Are you hungry? Though he was angry, but still he decided to break the silence between them. but because of his anger, his voice was stern. No, I have lost my appetite. When managed to answer as she was almost choked mentally. They stepped out of the car. He didn't utter a single word but silently waited for her. When took her medicine pouch before getting out of the car. Silently, they entered into the apartment. They knew when needed to use the washroom first, but he was aware of the fact that she was just trying to hide herself in a cozy area for her mental breakdown, and indeed, he didn't want that. Queen Kim, you are in charge of setting the temperature of the water today. I will join you after sterilizing your cup, so don't think to lock the door. Then, how I supposed to do my job? When asked him in a stern voice, similar to Tez's one. Wanna poop? They asked. No, why? When asked in confusion, then go and pee. Only these two jobs you can do all alone in the washroom, and if you wanna enjoy something else, I would like to help you with my thumb. Tez's voice wasn't stern, but his words were enough to make her blush. Stop overthinking, wifey. I'm not going to sacrifice chasing this pair of lips. He almost whispered, and a little aggressively he grabbed her waist. Kiss me to apologize for whatever you have told in the car. One was startled but not hurt. She just could gasp before her lips were being molded by these soft ones. Of course, she responded him, but as the hung made it deeper, she couldn't stop herself from melting in his embrace. After a few moments, she tapped on his shoulder as she was short of breath. They smirked and started leaving kisses on her neckline. His hand started roaming around her waistline. She could feel the zipper of her dress was being unzipped and she was almost being dragged towards the washroom. Please don't inform me, Young Pa. All she could tell before losing control over her. As she felt his teeth on her neck, but the way his hands were roaming every square inch of her body, the concept of being marked by Kim Tae-young was banished from her brain. Moreover, she let him to access her neckline to print more and more marks. They had to break as the dress was resisting him from what he was doing. Kitten, I know you respect Yoon Hyung and I agree he played the role of the Cupid unintentionally. But let me tell you, when I have married to you, you are entirely my responsibility and you have to believe in that theory. But you told me to kiss you and you didn't give me that chance. When complained, I'm sorry I was too angry to give you a moment. They apologized and pecked on her lips before turning on the shower. Honestly, Wen was getting addicted to touch his dirt body under the shower. She was getting addicted of his touch, the way his palm lazily moves on her bare skin under the shower. She still wanted to stay some more minutes under the shower with him, but he stopped the shower. She looked at him in dissatisfaction and was about to whine, but before she could pout, they took her into his arms and made her seated on the seat. Your body is weak. You can catch a cold if you take a long shower. It might affect your eye. He wrapped her wet body with a dry towel. I forgot to bring your cup. He walked out of the washroom before saying, I would help you to dry your hair. Indeed, he would help her, and she knew that, but she started drying her hair as it could trigger her eye infection. After a few minutes, they walked into the washroom with a sterilized menstrual cup. Let me help you. You're smooth like butter, but can I ask you for anything else? She asked, and they silently nodded. Can you please prepare the bed? My back is aching. They smiled. I have done that, but you are not going to sleep in empty stomach. I am preparing some plain porridge, so don't dare to skip your dinner and don't forget you have to take medicine after that. They was just done with serving the food when Wen joined him. At at the dining table. We're going to have some plain good food for next few days. They informed her while consuming his food. But the doctor said nothing about food. Then why are you? Wait, how many days do you have left? I mean, you have to join the respective university. What's about your visa? Wan looked concerned for him. I haven't spent that much time with you, so the next almost 7 days I'm free. I don't have that much work, just a few formalities and paperwork. They casually replied. The thought of they leaving her had almost made her choked. Though she tried to hide it from Tay, but he got her. Finish the porridge first. Van nodded silently. After a few moments, she was stable enough to consume the rest of the porridge left in her bowl. They badly wanted to curse her, but he stopped himself. Though he badly wanted to spoil her at this moment, but he restrained himself. Remember, no screen time. Go and lie down on the bed. His voice was sober in air. Van nodded like an obedient child. Let me help you with the dishes, at least. A part of her mind wanted to hear a no from him, and the other part of her reminded her that she needs to be self-sufficient to do these basic household chores. Next time, when you will be fine, we will do the dishes together, but I don't want you to catch cold and your body needs rest. His voice was soft. One nodded and went to the bedroom. After a few minutes, they slided the bedroom door to enter into it. One was reading a book, most probably related to glaucoma. He took her book. I don't know I should say this or not, but will you take leave for a few days until this redness of the sclera reduce? I mean, you have your leaves. You should use those when you need that. When I looked at him, are you okay? They took the paper bag from the nightstand and opened it, while Van's eyes were fixed on him. She still couldn't believe that they actually asked her to apply for leave. Are you done with your staring challenge? This voice dragged her into the reality again. She looked at his hands that were busy to pop up the pills. Oh, that's probably why you are being so sweet to me. The medicine. What? I never need a reason to be sweet with you. He raised the glass of water and the pills. One sec. She took her backpack and took two candies. One is for you. I don't know what's your favorite flavor, but I only have these pineapple ones. She unwrapped the candy for herself and put that aside before taking the medicine from him. She inhaled deeply before taking the pills into her mouth. She quickly gulped down all the medicine. Oh, I can sense the involuntary contraction and relaxation. I hate this. She took her candy and threw it into her mouth before lying on the bed. She whined for a good few seconds as the pineapple flavored candy took a few seconds of time to release its flavor to overlap the smell of the medicine. They tapped on her shoulder. Lie on her back, otherwise it would be bitter. It can't be bitter now. I have swallowed up everything you gave me. One murmured. One, wanna play a game with me? They tapped on her shoulder and One jerked up his hand. No. Okay, fine. If I ask you for something, will you give me? They approached her softly. Is everything alright? What happened? I mean, yeah, what do you need? Do I have or do I own that thing? What you need? Wen turned and was about to get up from her lying position. Still like that. Yes, you and only you can help me with that. They gently engaged her frame and uncapped the eye drop. Just keep your eyes open. And she felt something, almost like burning. She cried in pain. She tried to rub her eyes with her palms, but she was already engaged by they. They knew the medicine would feel something like that, but he wasn't aware of the fact that Van had never experienced an eye drop. He could feel her body began to stiffen. He had no time to waste. He attached his lips on her soft pink ones and started kissing her. He almost swallowed all her sobbings. It was hard to resist her from rubbing her eyes as she was using all her strength to reach her eyes. He started from the lower lip and gently moved to the upper one. It took a few moments for Tay to calm her down. Slowly, her concentration was getting shifted to Tay's warmth. It was comfortable, very comfortable. They sensed one was responding him. Her body was slowly becoming limp. She was exhausted. A thin layer of sweat glazed her forehead. Tiredness was slowly devouring her weak body. They knew she was on her dates, but as he noticed the tan-colored marks on her collarbone area, he wanted to make them purple. His lips slowly shifted to her jawline and started leaving wet. But as he reached to her collarbone, she gasped and fisted a handful of his brown hair and dragged his head a little down. They took a fraction of seconds to understand what she wanted. Surprisingly, he couldn't stop himself from rubbing his nose between her fleshy. He knew it's possible for a woman to get a, and the hurdle was he knew only that. He didn't know what the procedure was. He was confused whether he was allowed to do all the things he actually dreamed. Moreover, he was damn sure that he must gonna be going through a damn strong premature. He paused for a second. When placed his hand on her and pinched on his forearm, it didn't take more than a second for Tay to understand what she wanted to say through the gesture. Swirling his tongue around his pinkish, he stuttered. It wasn't harsh, but it was enough to quench her thirst, yet was enough to make her more and more thirsty. She wanted to ignore how ticklish his wavy brown hair was, but the random movement of his head made her to crave that for more and more. The next afternoon, when Van opened her eyes, it was already afternoon. She touched the screen of her phone to check the time, and it literally took a few seconds for her to understand that she had already lost the scope to attend her last class in the university. Wait, I'm missing something, she murmured. Where's they? She looked around the room and noticed the lights of the study room was on. She moved her body to get up from the bed when she realized how sore her feet were. She literally hissed in pain as she casually touched her. Kim wished they young. Come on, Van. Sorrow is luxury. She collected her worn clothes from the leg side of the bed where they had folded those clothes carefully and wore the t-shirt that they had worn last night. No, not because they loved her to see in his clothes, but she was feeling so sore. She didn't dare to put on anything body hugging and headed to the washroom as she desperately needed to get fresh. In the washroom, she took a few minutes to plan her washroom activities. It would take some time to heat up the water, so she decided to do the laundry utilizing this time. After putting all the clothes into the washing machine, it was time to take off the t-shirt. As she did so, she could see her reflection on the mirror. The skin of her upper body was quite resembling to a cheetah skin, as her neck and collarbone and the chest was imprinted with dark to light shade of purple marks. A few were dark brown. Hey! They peeked into the washroom and Van was dragged into the reality. Instinctively, she covered her. What? She managed to ask but awkwardly. Oh, it's your medicine time and wow. He didn't even hesitate to step inside the washroom and back out her and started kissing her bare neckline. Aren't you angry? She asked, seeing him all romantic. For what? His husky voice was enough to drive her crazy. I woke up so late. I literally bunked and I actually forgot to send my leave application. And believe me, I know I shouldn't say this, but I think I'm gonna be blind soon. The light is so dull here. She sighed. I have changed the bulb and sent a leave application. He was sniffing all the marks he made. Glaucoma is not like marinating chicken, you babu. You are not going to be blind overnight. Moreover, you are not going to lose your eyesight. You are under treatment, and all you need to be just careful. Removing the remaining clothes from her body, he gently put her into the bathtub. You're looking beautiful, Van. Beautiful than I could even imagine. Take your time, and what do you want to eat? He caressed her hair. Milk and cereal? Anyo, cornflakes. And soaked herself into the warm water of the bathtub. Ah, it feels so good. Looks like you haven't changed your cup. I will drop the sanitized one, so don't worry. They smiled. Wanna join me? Wen raised her eyebrows and asked him in a teasing tone. Kitten, you need this time, and as your husband has promised you to do the chores, so enjoy your time, Yobo. They accepted her teasing with a smile and stepped out of the washroom. Submerging the body, Wen closed her eyes. As she touched her neckline, a soft pain tingled. The pain was soothing. The warm water was healing that in the most gentle way. Closing her eyes, she could see how they enjoyed the cuddling session. She could feel an urge of having him closer, urge to cuddle him like last night or a little tighter than that. A thin line of smile was curved on her face. I love you, she whispered, and her words disappeared in the steamy room.